Stop scrolling. What if the quarter in your pocket is hiding one of America's greatest untold stories? Today on ARY Coins News, we're revealing the incredible history behind 4 legendary U.S. state quarters, from Alaska's wild frontier and Tennessee's musical heritage to New Hampshire's iconic Old Man of the Mountain and the breathtaking Salt River Bay of the U.S. Virgin Islands. These aren't just ordinary 25-cent coins, they're miniature history books filled with unforgettable stories, powerful symbols, and fascinating secrets. Stay until the very end, because every coin has a story, and this journey is one you won't want to miss. Step 1. There are coins that simply pass through our hands, and then there are coins that preserve the spirit of an entire land. The 2008 Alaska State Quarter is one of those extraordinary pieces of American history. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 25-cent coin, yet every detail engraved upon its surface tells the story of America's largest state, its breathtaking wilderness, and the remarkable journey that transformed Alaska into the 49th state of the United States. Featuring the unforgettable image of a powerful grizzly bear catching a salmon beneath the words, "The Great Land," this quarter celebrates not only Alaska's natural beauty, but also the resilience, independence, and adventurous spirit that have defined the region for generations. What seems like a simple pocket coin is, in reality, a miniature historical monument that carries one of the most fascinating stories in American coinage. Long before the Alaska Quarter was introduced in 2008, the story of Alaska itself had already become one of the greatest chapters in American history. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples such as the Inupiat, Yupik, Aleut, Tlingit, Haida, and Athabascan communities lived across this vast northern wilderness, developing rich cultures deeply connected to the land, rivers, mountains, and sea. In the 18th century, Russian explorers arrived, establishing settlements and expanding the fur trade throughout the region. Eventually, in 1867, the United States purchased Alaska from Russia, a decision that many critics mocked at the time, but which later proved to be one of the most important land acquisitions in American history. Decades later, Alaska officially entered the Union as the 49th state in 1959, a milestone proudly commemorated by the inscription, 1959, on the reverse of the 2008 state quarter. The creation of the Alaska State Quarter formed part of the celebrated 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs ever undertaken by the United States Mint. Beginning in 1999, each state received its own unique quarter design, released in the order that it joined the Union. By the time Alaska's turn arrived in 2008, millions of Americans eagerly anticipated seeing how the nation's largest state would be represented. Rather than choosing a famous building or political landmark, Alaska selected one of its greatest natural symbols, a majestic grizzly bear emerging from rushing water while catching a wild salmon. This breathtaking design immediately captured public attention because it reflected the untamed wilderness, abundant wildlife, and rugged independence that make Alaska unlike any other state in America. Every design element on the 2008 Alaska Quarter carries powerful symbolism. The obverse features the familiar portrait of George Washington, accompanied by the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust, United States of America," and "Quarter Dollar." These familiar elements connect the coin to the long tradition of American quarter dollar coinage. Turn the coin over, however, and the story changes dramatically. Dominating the reverse is the unforgettable image of a grizzly bear firmly holding a salmon in its jaws, illustrating the natural cycle of survival that has defined Alaska's rivers for thousands of years. Above the bear appears "the Great Land," a phrase widely associated with Alaska's enormous landscapes, while EPLUBUSUNUM reinforces the principle that all states together form one united nation. Every inscription transforms this quarter into a powerful tribute to America's final frontier. Behind the striking beauty of the Alaska Quarter lies an extraordinary process of craftsmanship carried out at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark. Massive coining presses transformed carefully prepared clad planchets into beautifully detailed quarters, capable of surviving decades of circulation. Skilled technicians monitored production continuously, ensuring each strike accurately reproduced every detail of George Washington's portrait, the grizzly bear, the salmon, and every inscription. Although millions of circulation quarters were successfully produced, the mint's dedication to precision ensured that each coin reflected the highest standards of American coinage. Today, every authentic 2008 Alaska State Quarter stands not only as legal currency, but also as a lasting reminder of one of America's most remarkable landscapes and the enduring spirit of the people who call it home. Imagine standing beside a wild Alaskan river where icy water rushes down from snow-covered mountains and a powerful grizzly bear patiently waits for the perfect moment to catch a salmon. That breathtaking scene is exactly what the designers wanted to preserve forever on the 2008 Alaska State Quarter. Rather than choosing a government building or historical monument, Alaska selected a living symbol of its wilderness. The bear represents strength, survival, and the untamed beauty that has made Alaska famous throughout the world, while the salmon reflects the state's rich natural resources and the importance of its rivers to both wildlife and local communities. Together, these two elements create one of the most recognizable and admired designs in the entire State Quarters series. The words "The Great Land" printed beneath the grizzly bear are far more than a simple nickname. They capture the immense scale of Alaska, a state so vast that it contains towering mountain ranges, massive glaciers, endless forests, thousands of rivers, and more coastline than all the other U.S. states combined. For generations, explorers, adventurers, scientists, and travelers have viewed Alaska as a place where nature still dominates the landscape. By placing this phrase on the coin, the United States Mint honored not only Alaska's geography, but also its reputation as one of the last truly wild frontiers in North America. Every quarter carrying this inscription reminds collectors that Alaska's identity has always been deeply connected to its extraordinary natural environment. Long before this quarter entered circulation, the United States Mint invited every participating state to recommend designs that reflected its history and culture. Alaska considered several ideas before selecting the grizzly bear catching a salmon because it perfectly represented the state's wildlife, outdoor heritage, and natural abundance. The final artwork was carefully refined to ensure every detail could be reproduced clearly on a circulating coin. Artists balanced realism with simplicity, allowing the bear's powerful posture and the movement of the salmon to remain visible even on a coin only a few centimeters wide. This thoughtful design process transformed the Alaska Quarter into both a work of art and a historical tribute. When the 2008 Alaska Quarter entered circulation, it immediately attracted attention from collectors, educators, and the general public. Children searched through pocket change hopping to find the newest state quarter, while experienced numismatists admired the design's originality and symbolism. Many Americans who had never visited Alaska became curious about its wildlife, history, and breathtaking landscapes simply because of the images engraved on this coin. In that sense, the Alaska Quarter achieved something remarkable. It became an ambassador for the state, introducing millions of people to its identity through everyday currency that passed from hand to hand across the nation. Although the 2008 Alaska State Quarter was produced primarily for circulation, it also became an important historical keepsake for future generations. Each surviving coin preserves the story of Alaska's statehood, the vision behind the 50 State Quarters program, and the craftsmanship of the Denver Mint. Nearly 2 decades after its release, the coin continues to remind collectors that American currency is more than a medium of exchange. It is a canvas upon which the nation's history, culture, and natural heritage are permanently engraved. In the chapters ahead, we will explore the deeper symbolism of George Washington's portrait, the history of the quarter dollar itself, collector interest, authentic mint varieties, and the lasting legacy that has made the Alaska Quarter one of the most celebrated coins in modern American numismatics. Every great coin tells 2 stories at once, and the 2008 Alaska State Quarter is no exception. While the reverse celebrates Alaska's magnificent wilderness, the obverse proudly carries the portrait of George Washington, the first President of the United States and one of the nation's most enduring symbols of leadership. Washington's image has appeared on the quarter since 1932, honoring the bicentennial of his birth. His calm and determined expression reminds Americans of the courage, discipline, and vision that helped establish the United States. By pairing Washington's portrait with Alaska's untamed landscape, the coin beautifully connects the nation's founding history with one of its newest states, creating a powerful symbol of unity across generations. The quarter dollar itself has played an essential role in American commerce for more than 2 centuries. Long before digital payments and modern banking, quarters were among the most widely used coins in everyday life. They purchased meals, transportation, newspapers, and countless household necessities. By the time the Alaska quarter entered circulation in 2008, the denomination had already become one of the most familiar coins in American pockets. Through the 50-state quarters program, the United States Mint transformed this everyday coin into a traveling history lesson, allowing millions of people to learn about every state's culture, heritage, and identity simply by examining the change in their hands. Producing the 2008 Alaska quarter required remarkable precision inside the historic Denver Mint. Large coils of clad metal were transformed into perfectly shaped blanks before passing through high-pressure coining presses. In a fraction of a second, enormous force transferred every detail of George Washington, the grizzly bear, the salmon, and each inscription onto the coin's surface. Skilled technicians constantly monitored the production process to ensure exceptional quality while replacing worn dies whenever necessary. Although millions of quarters were struck, maintaining consistent detail across such a large production was an extraordinary achievement of modern minting technology and craftsmanship. As collectors began studying the Alaska quarter more closely, attention turned toward authentic mint-made varieties and production characteristics. Like all mass-produced coins, slight differences could occur naturally during manufacturing, including die chips, die cracks, minor off-center strikes, or other genuine mint-made variations. These characteristics are carefully documented by numismatists because they provide valuable insight into the production process rather than representing damage that occurred after the coin entered circulation. Distinguishing authentic mint errors from ordinary wear requires careful examination and, in many cases, professional authentication, making education an important part of responsible coin collecting. The lasting popularity of the 2008 Alaska State Quarter proves that a circulating coin can become far more than everyday money. It serves as a tribute to Alaska's breathtaking landscapes, its remarkable wildlife, and the adventurous spirit that has defined the state for generations. At the same time, it reminds collectors that every coin carries a deeper purpose beyond its face value. By preserving history, culture, and national identity within a single design, the Alaska quarter continues to inspire curiosity among collectors and history enthusiasts alike. In the next chapter, we will explore how this remarkable coin earned its place in modern American numismatics and why it remains one of the most admired issues in the entire State Quarters series. As the years continue to pass, the 2008 Alaska State Quarter remains far more than a simple 25-cent coin. It has become a lasting reminder of America's ability to preserve history through everyday currency. Every authentic example carries the spirit of Alaska's towering mountains, rushing rivers, magnificent wildlife, and the determination of the people who transformed this extraordinary territory into the 49th state of the Union. What once circulated through grocery stores, banks, restaurants, and family businesses now serves as a miniature historical record, allowing future generations to experience a small piece of Alaska's remarkable story every time they hold the coin in their hands. For collectors, the true beauty of the Alaska quarter is not measured only by its condition, but by the powerful symbolism captured within its design. The fearless grizzly bear represents strength and survival. The salmon reflects Alaska's rich natural resources. The great land celebrates one of the most breathtaking regions on Earth. And George Washington's portrait reminds us that every state, no matter how distant, is united under the same national history and ideals. This thoughtful combination of artistry and historical meaning transformed the coin into one of the most admired releases in the entire 50-state quarters program, earning appreciation from both seasoned numismatists and people discovering coin collecting for the very first time. Perhaps the greatest achievement of the 2008 Alaska State Quarter is its ability to inspire curiosity. A single glance at the reverse encourages questions about Alaska's wildlife, its indigenous heritage, the famous salmon runs, the history of its statehood, and the extraordinary landscapes that earned it the title, the Great Land. Few circulating coins have succeeded in educating millions of people while still serving as everyday money. This remarkable balance between history, culture, and practical use is one of the defining reasons why the Alaska Quarter continues to hold a special place in modern American coinage. Today, nearly 2 decades after its release, millions of Alaska quarters still circulate across the United States, quietly continuing the mission they began in 2008. Some remain in pocket change, others are preserved in carefully assembled collections, and many have become treasured keepsakes passed from one generation to the next. Each surviving coin tells its own unique story, shaped by where it has traveled, who has carried it, and how it has endured the passage of time. That remarkable journey transforms an ordinary quarter into a historical messenger, connecting the past with the present. As we conclude this documentary, one truth stands above all others. The 2008 Alaska State Quarter is more than a coin. It is a celebration of American history, natural beauty, artistic excellence, and national unity. It honors Alaska's unforgettable wilderness, commemorates its proud admission to the Union in 1959, showcases the craftsmanship of the United States Mint, and preserves the timeless legacy of George Washington on one side and the majestic grizzly bear on the other. Its greatest value lies not in extraordinary claims of fortune, but in the extraordinary story it continues to tell. And that is the true magic of coin collecting. Every coin carries a history, but only those who take the time to look closely can truly appreciate the remarkable journey hidden within its metal. Thanks for watching and staying with me very end, because the next coin change your life. Step 2. There are places in the world where history and nature exist side by side, and Salt River Bay in the U.S. Virgin Islands is one of those extraordinary locations. The 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter is far more than a 25-cent coin. It is a tribute to centuries of exploration, cultural heritage, and one of the Caribbean's most remarkable natural ecosystems. At first glance, the reverse design appears peaceful, featuring elegant red mangrove trees, delicate flowers, and calm coastal waters. Yet hidden within this beautiful scene is a story that stretches back thousands of years, long before the arrival of European explorers. Every detail engraved on this quarter reminds us that America's history extends far beyond the mainland, reaching into islands whose stories helped shape the history of the entire Western Hemisphere. Long before the United States Virgin Islands became an American territory, Salt River Bay was home to indigenous peoples who built thriving communities along its fertile shores. Archaeological discoveries reveal that the region was inhabited for centuries by cultures including the Taino and later the Kalinago, whose lives were deeply connected to the sea, rivers, forests, and surrounding environment. They developed advanced traditions of fishing, farming, canoe building, and trade throughout the Caribbean. The protected waters of Salt River Bay provided food, shelter, and transportation, making it one of the most important natural harbors in the region. Long before modern maps existed, these communities had already established a rich cultural legacy that remains an essential part of the area's identity today. One of the most significant moments in Salt River Bay's history occurred during Christopher Columbus's second voyage in 1493. Historical records identify this bay as one of the first places where sustained contact occurred between Europeans and the indigenous peoples of what is now United States territory. That encounter marked the beginning of a profound historical transformation that would influence the Caribbean for centuries. Although the meeting was brief, it became an important milestone in the history of exploration, cultural exchange, and the complex relationships that followed. Today, Salt River Bay preserves that historical memory while also honoring the indigenous communities whose presence shaped the region long before European ships appeared on the horizon. The creation of the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter formed part of the celebrated America the Beautiful Quarters program, which highlighted national parks, preserves, and historic sites across the United States and its territories. Rather than honoring political leaders or famous monuments, this program celebrated places of exceptional historical, cultural, and environmental importance. Salt River Bay National Historical Park and Ecological Preserve was selected because it represents an extraordinary combination of archaeology, marine ecology, tropical forests, and cultural heritage. The reverse design features striking red mangrove trees, an essential part of the coastal ecosystem. These remarkable trees protect shorelines from erosion, provide shelter for marine life, and support one of the richest natural environments in the Caribbean, making them a perfect symbol for this unique national preserve. Every inscription and artistic detail on the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter carries historical meaning. The obverse displays the familiar portrait of George Washington, surrounded by liberty, in God we trust, United States of America, and quarter dollar, continuing the long tradition of American quarter dollar coinage. On the reverse appear the inscriptions Salt River Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands, 2020, and EPLUBUSUNUM, framing the graceful mangrove trees and blooming flowers that represent both environmental preservation and the enduring beauty of the Caribbean landscape. Produced at the Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark, this quarter became much more than circulating currency. It became a lasting tribute to one of America's most historically and environmentally significant places, preserving its remarkable story for generations to come. Few places honored on United States coinage combine natural beauty and historical importance as completely as Salt River Bay National Historical Park and Ecological Preserve. Nestled on the island of St. Croix, this remarkable location is unlike any other site featured in the America the Beautiful Quarters program. Crystal clear waters meet dense mangrove forests, while beneath the surface lies a thriving marine ecosystem filled with fish, coral, sea life, and protected habitats. Above the water, tropical vegetation creates a peaceful landscape that has supported human life for thousands of years. The 2020 Quarter captures this harmony between nature and history, reminding every collector that America's heritage includes not only famous cities and battlefields, but also fragile ecosystems that deserve protection for future generations. Beyond its breathtaking scenery, Salt River Bay has become one of the Caribbean's most important archaeological sites. Over many decades, archaeologists uncovered pottery, tools, ceremonial objects, and the remains of ancient settlements that revealed how indigenous communities lived long before European exploration. These discoveries helped historians understand daily life, trade routes, farming techniques, fishing traditions, and spiritual beliefs that flourished across the islands for centuries. Every artifact recovered from the area strengthens our understanding of Caribbean history, making Salt River Bay not only an ecological preserve, but also an invaluable outdoor museum where the past continues to emerge from the soil and shoreline. Reverse design of the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter may appear simple at first glance, yet every artistic choice carries symbolic meaning. The graceful red mangrove trees stand as guardians of the coastline, their complex root systems protecting beaches from erosion while creating safe nurseries for countless marine species. Surrounding vegetation and flowers reflect the extraordinary biodiversity that has made the preserve internationally recognized among scientists and conservationists. Rather than portraying dramatic historical events, the design quietly celebrates the natural balance that has sustained life in this region for generations. This thoughtful approach transformed the coin into a tribute not only to history, but also to environmental stewardship and conservation. Inside the historic Denver Mint, the production of the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter demanded exceptional precision. Carefully prepared clad planchets moved through powerful coining presses where tremendous pressure transferred every detail of George Washington's portrait, the mangrove trees, delicate flowers, and surrounding inscriptions onto the coin's surface. Skilled mint technicians continuously inspected production to maintain the highest standards of quality, replacing dies whenever necessary to preserve sharp design details. Although millions of circulation quarters were successfully struck, every authentic example reflects the remarkable craftsmanship and advanced technology that continue to define modern United States coinage. Today, the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter stands as more than an ordinary piece of pocket change. It represents the meeting of history, culture, exploration, archaeology, and environmental preservation within a single coin. From the ancient indigenous communities that first called the bay home, to the arrival of European explorers, to its recognition as a protected national preserve, every chapter of Salt River Bay's remarkable story is symbolically preserved in its design. That extraordinary combination of historical depth and natural beauty is what makes this quarter one of the most meaningful and admired issues in modern American numismatics, ensuring that its legacy will continue to inspire collectors and history enthusiasts for many years to come. Every remarkable coin invites us to look beyond its face value, and the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter is a perfect example of that truth. While millions of these quarters entered everyday circulation, few people realized they were carrying a tribute to one of the most historically significant places in the Caribbean. Each coin silently tells a story of exploration, indigenous heritage, environmental preservation, and the enduring connection between people and nature. Unlike ordinary currency that is quickly forgotten, this quarter encourages curiosity, inviting collectors to discover the remarkable history hidden behind its elegant design and carefully chosen symbols. At the center of the obverse remains the timeless portrait of George Washington, whose image has represented the American quarter for generations. His presence reminds collectors that every state, territory, and national preserve honored on United States coinage shares a common place within the nation's history. Surrounding Washington are the familiar inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, United States of America, and Quarter Dollar, preserving traditions that have appeared on American coins for decades. This familiar front design creates a meaningful contrast with the reverse, where the peaceful mangrove landscape celebrates one of America's most treasured ecological preserves rather than a battlefield or monument. Collectors often appreciate the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter not because it promises extraordinary wealth, but because it represents an important chapter in the America the Beautiful Quarters program. Coins in exceptional uncirculated condition, certified examples, and genuine mint-made varieties attract special attention within the numismatic community. Professionals carefully examine strike quality, original surfaces, and overall preservation while distinguishing authentic mint characteristics from ordinary circulation wear. This careful study reflects one of the most rewarding aspects of coin collecting, the opportunity to understand history through craftsmanship rather than speculation. The greatest strength of the Salt River Bay Quarter lies in its educational value. A single glance at its reverse encourages conversations about indigenous civilizations, Christopher Columbus's voyages, Caribbean ecology, archaeological discoveries, and the importance of protecting fragile coastal environments. Very few circulating coins manage to combine history, science, geography, and conservation into one artistic design. By honoring a place instead of a person, the coin reminds us that landscapes themselves can become national treasures worthy of preservation and recognition. As this remarkable journey comes to its conclusion, the 2020 Salt River Bay Quarter stands as a lasting symbol of America's diverse heritage. It celebrates the beauty of the U.S. Virgin Islands, honors thousands of years of human history, recognizes the importance of environmental conservation, and preserves these stories in a form that millions of people can hold in the palm of their hand. Its true significance is found not in sensational claims, but in the rich history it carries and the knowledge it inspires. That is the enduring power of great coin design. It transforms an everyday quarter into a timeless storyteller whose legacy will continue to educate and inspire future generations. History often hides in the smallest objects, and the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter proves that a simple 25-cent coin can preserve centuries of human achievement, exploration, and natural beauty. Every authentic example serves as a miniature historical document, connecting the modern world with ancient Caribbean civilizations, early European exploration, and the continuing effort to protect one of America's most valuable ecological preserves. Unlike monuments that remain fixed in one place, this quarter travels from hand to hand, carrying the story of Salt River Bay to people who may never have the opportunity to visit the U.S. Virgin Islands themselves. One of the most remarkable qualities of this coin is its message of preservation. The red mangrove trees featured on the reverse are not simply decorative artwork. They represent one of nature's most important coastal defense systems. Their roots protect shorelines from erosion, create nurseries for young fish, filter coastal waters, and provide shelter for countless species of birds and marine life. By placing these trees on a circulating coin, the United States Mint highlighted the importance of environmental conservation alongside historical remembrance, demonstrating that protecting nature is also an important part of preserving America's national heritage. As the years pass, collectors continue to appreciate the 2020 Salt River Bay quarter for its unique combination of artistry, history, and symbolism. Whether discovered in everyday pocket change or preserved inside carefully assembled collections, every surviving coin reminds us that American coinage represents far more than commerce. It tells stories of distant landscapes, remarkable cultures, scientific discovery, and national pride. The Salt River Bay quarter has earned its place among the most meaningful modern commemorative designs because it encourages every collector to explore the history behind the images rather than simply admire their beauty. Looking toward the future, this quarter will continue inspiring new generations of collectors, historians, students, and nature enthusiasts. Decades from now, people examining this coin will still recognize the peaceful mangrove trees, the inscriptions that identify the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the familiar portrait of George Washington. They will understand that this coin was created not merely to circulate as money, but to preserve the story of a place where history, archaeology, ecology, and culture come together in extraordinary harmony. That timeless purpose ensures its lasting importance within the rich tradition of United States coinage. As we conclude this documentary, one lesson becomes unmistakably clear. The 2020 Salt River Bay quarter is not remembered because it is an ordinary quarter. It is remembered because it captures an extraordinary place. It honors the indigenous peoples who first called the Bay home, commemorates one of the earliest encounters between Europe and the Caribbean, celebrates the breathtaking beauty of the U.S. Virgin Islands, and recognizes the importance of protecting these treasures for generations yet to come. Its greatest legacy is not measured by its denomination, but by the remarkable story permanently engraved into its metal, a story that will continue to educate, inspire, and remind us that every great coin is a gateway to history. Step 3. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 25-cent coin, but a closer look reveals a tribute to one of the greatest musical legacies in the world. Struck at the historic Philadelphia Mint, this remarkable quarter honors Tennessee's rich heritage, where melodies have echoed through mountains, cities, churches, and concert halls for generations. Every note engraved on its reverse tells a story of creativity, tradition, and artistic excellence, transforming a simple coin into a symbol of the state's unforgettable contribution to American music. More than just currency, the Tennessee quarter preserves a legacy that continues to inspire musicians and music lovers across the globe. Long before the 2002 Tennessee quarter entered circulation, the story of Tennessee had already become one of courage, growth, and cultural achievement. Admitted to the Union in 1796, As the 16th state, Tennessee quickly developed into a region known for its fertile land, hard-working communities, and strategic importance in American history. Over the decades, the state became a crossroads where different cultures, traditions, and musical influences blended together, creating sounds that would eventually shape the identity of the entire nation. From the Appalachian Mountains in the east to the Mississippi River in the west, Tennessee grew into a place where history and music evolved side by side. The creation of the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter formed part of the historic 50 State Quarters program, one of the most successful coin programs ever introduced by the United States Mint. Released in the order that states joined the Union, each quarter honored a unique aspect of its state's identity. Tennessee chose not to celebrate a political event or famous building, but instead focused on something deeply woven into its culture, its extraordinary musical heritage. This decision reflected the state's worldwide reputation as the birthplace of countless musical traditions that continue to influence artists across generations. By placing music at the heart of its design, Tennessee created one of the most recognizable and admired quarters in the entire series. Every symbol engraved on the reverse of the 2002 Tennessee Quarter carries a deeper meaning. The guitar represents country music, whose roots run deep through Nashville, often called Music City. The fiddle honors the traditions of Appalachian folk and bluegrass music that flourished in eastern Tennessee. The trumpet recognizes the powerful influence of blues, jazz, and soul that grew along the Mississippi River and especially in Memphis. Flowing across the background is a musical score that unites these instruments into one harmonious composition, while the three stars symbolize Tennessee's three grand divisions, East, Middle, and West Tennessee. Together, these elements celebrate a state whose musical influence reaches every corner of the world. Behind the production of every authentic 2002 Tennessee State Quarter stands the remarkable craftsmanship of the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest minting facility in the United States. Carefully prepared clad planchets passed through high-speed coining presses where tremendous pressure permanently transferred George Washington's portrait, the musical instruments, the inscriptions, and every intricate design detail onto the coin's surface. Skilled mint technicians continuously monitored production to ensure sharp strikes and consistent quality across millions of quarters. Although intended for everyday circulation, each coin reflects the precision and artistry that have defined American coinage for more than 2 centuries, making the Tennessee Quarter both a practical piece of currency and a lasting tribute to one of America's greatest cultural treasures. Few places in the United States have shaped the world's music as profoundly as Tennessee, and that extraordinary influence is beautifully reflected in the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter. For generations, the state has served as a meeting place where different musical traditions blended into entirely new sounds. Travelers, settlers, church choirs, folk musicians, and performers carried melodies across mountains and river valleys, creating a rich cultural heritage unlike anywhere else in America. By honoring music instead of monuments, the Tennessee Quarter celebrates a legacy that cannot be measured in buildings or statues. It lives in songs that continue to inspire millions around the world. At the heart of Tennessee's musical identity stands Nashville, widely recognized as Music City. Long before modern recording studios existed, musicians gathered here to share stories through song, preserving traditions that were passed from one generation to the next. Over time, Nashville grew into one of the world's leading centers for songwriting, live performances, and music production. The guitar shown on the reverse of the quarter pays tribute to this remarkable heritage, symbolizing creativity, storytelling, and the timeless sound of country music that has made Tennessee famous across the globe. Every engraved string reminds collectors that music is one of the state's greatest gifts to American culture. Equally important is the city of Memphis, whose influence on blues, soul, gospel, and early rock music transformed the history of popular entertainment. Along the banks of the Mississippi River, musicians combined different traditions to create powerful new styles that crossed cultural boundaries and reached audiences around the world. The trumpet featured on the quarter represents this vibrant musical tradition, honoring the spirit of innovation that has defined Memphis for generations. Through this carefully chosen symbol, the coin celebrates not only a musical instrument, but also the creativity and determination of countless artists who changed the sound of modern music forever. The fiddle, positioned beside the guitar and trumpet, represents another essential chapter of Tennessee's musical story. Deep within the Appalachian Mountains, families preserved traditional folk melodies brought from Europe and enriched them with local influences over many generations. These lively tunes became the foundation of bluegrass, old-time music, and many forms of American folk culture. By including the fiddle in its design, the Tennessee Quarter recognizes the importance of rural communities whose musical traditions continue to influence performers throughout the world. Together, the three instruments create a visual harmony that perfectly reflects Tennessee's extraordinary diversity of musical expression. Today, the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter is admired not only by collectors, but also by historians, musicians, and educators who recognize its cultural importance. Every authentic coin reminds us that music has the power to unite people across generations, languages, and backgrounds. It preserves the story of a state whose melodies have echoed far beyond its borders, leaving an unforgettable mark on American history. In the chapters ahead, we will explore the meaning of the three stars, the history of George Washington's portrait on the quarter, the minting process, collector interest, and the enduring legacy that has made the Tennessee State Quarter one of the most meaningful designs in the entire 50-state quarters program. Hidden within the reverse design of the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter is one of its most meaningful symbols, the three stars. At first glance, they may appear to be simple decorative elements, but they actually represent the three grand divisions of Tennessee: East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, and West Tennessee. Each region has its own unique geography, traditions, and historical identity. East Tennessee is known for the Great Smoky Mountains and Appalachian heritage. Middle Tennessee is famous for Nashville and its thriving music culture, while West Tennessee is recognized for Memphis and its deep influence on blues and soul music. By placing these three stars on the coin, the designers celebrated the unity of a state whose regions are diverse, yet forever connected. The familiar portrait of George Washington on the obverse gives the Tennessee Quarter another layer of historical importance. Washington became the face of the American Quarter in 1932, honoring the 200th anniversary of his birth. His image has remained on the denomination ever since, symbolizing leadership, independence, and the founding principles of the United States. Surrounding his portrait are the timeless inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, United States of America, and Quarter Dollar. Together, these elements link every state quarter to the nation's broader history, while allowing each reverse design to celebrate the unique story of an individual state. Producing millions of 2002 Tennessee State Quarters required extraordinary precision at the historic Philadelphia Mint. Large sheets of clad metal were transformed into perfectly sized blanks before entering powerful coining presses capable of striking hundreds of coins every minute. Under tremendous pressure, the designs of George Washington, the three musical instruments, the flowing musical score, and every inscription were permanently impressed into the metal. Skilled technicians carefully inspected production throughout the process, ensuring that each quarter met the strict quality standards expected of United States coinage. This combination of craftsmanship and advanced technology allowed millions of beautifully detailed quarters to enter circulation across the nation. As the Tennessee Quarter spread through everyday commerce, it quickly became one of the most admired releases in the 50-state quarters program. Families searched through pocket change to collect every new design, schools used the coins to teach geography and history, and collectors carefully preserved brilliant uncirculated examples in albums and protective holders. The Tennessee design stood out because it celebrated something deeply personal and universally appreciated: music. Rather than focusing on politics or architecture, the coin honored creativity, cultural expression, and the artistic spirit that has defined Tennessee for generations. The legacy of the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter continues to grow with every passing year. It reminds collectors that American coins can preserve far more than economic value. They can celebrate culture, inspire curiosity, and tell unforgettable stories. Every authentic quarter represents the harmony between history, music, craftsmanship, and national pride. As our documentary continues, we will explore collector interest, genuine mint varieties, professional grading, preservation techniques, and the lasting historical significance that has made this remarkable quarter one of the most beloved designs in modern American coinage. As years passed, the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter gradually became more than just everyday pocket change. Collectors across the United States began preserving high-quality examples, recognizing that each state quarter represented a unique chapter of American history. Many families assembled complete collections as the series was released, introducing an entirely new generation to the hobby of numismatics. The Tennessee issue quickly became a favorite because its design celebrated something that transcends generations: music. Whether someone loved country, bluegrass, gospel, blues, jazz, or rock and roll, this quarter represented the cultural heartbeat of a state whose influence reached far beyond its borders. One of the most fascinating aspects of collecting the Tennessee Quarter is studying its condition. Professional grading services carefully evaluate every coin by examining its strike quality, remaining mint luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. A well-preserved 2002 Tennessee Quarter with brilliant original surfaces reflects exactly how it appeared when it left the Philadelphia Mint, while circulated examples display the natural signs of years spent in everyday commerce. Each grade tells a different story, allowing collectors to appreciate not only the design itself, but also the remarkable journey every coin has experienced over time. Like all mass-produced coins, the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter may exhibit authentic mint-made varieties created during the production process. Specialists sometimes identify features such as die cracks, die chips, minor off-center strikes, or other genuine manufacturing characteristics. These are carefully documented because they provide valuable insight into how the coins were produced rather than representing damage that occurred after circulation. Experienced numismatists understand the importance of distinguishing true mint-made varieties from post-mint wear, making careful study and professional authentication essential parts of responsible coin collecting. Perhaps the greatest achievement of the Tennessee Quarter lies in its ability to preserve an entire cultural identity within a single piece of metal. The guitar, fiddle, trumpet, musical notes, and three stars together create a visual story that celebrates creativity, tradition, and unity. Every time the coin changes hands, it quietly reminds people that Tennessee's greatest treasure is not found beneath the ground. It is found in the songs, performances, and artistic traditions that have inspired audiences around the world for generations. Few circulating coins have captured the soul of a place as successfully as this remarkable design. As we reach the conclusion of this documentary, the 2002 Tennessee State Quarter stands as a timeless celebration of American heritage. It honors the state's admission to the Union in 1796, recognizes its extraordinary musical legacy, showcases the craftsmanship of the United States Mint, and preserves these achievements for future generations. Its greatest value is not defined by sensational claims or extraordinary face value, but by the history, artistry, and cultural pride engraved into every authentic coin. That enduring legacy is why the Tennessee State Quarter remains one of the most admired and meaningful releases in the history of the 50 State Quarters program, ensuring that its story will continue to inspire collectors, historians, and music lovers for many years to come. Step 4. There are few coins that capture the spirit of freedom as powerfully as the 2000 New Hampshire State Quarter. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 25-cent coin, yet every detail engraved on its reverse tells a story of courage, independence, and state pride. Featuring the legendary Old Man of the Mountain alongside the famous state motto, "Live free or die." This quarter preserves one of the most recognizable symbols in American history. Released as part of the celebrated 50 State Quarters program, it transformed a simple piece of circulating currency into a tribute to the values that shaped New Hampshire and inspired generations of Americans. Every time this coin changes hands, it carries with it a message that has echoed across centuries: the enduring importance of freedom. Long before the quarter was released in 2000, the story of New Hampshire had already secured an important place in the nation's history. Located in the heart of New England, the region was first settled by Europeans during the early 17th century, though indigenous peoples had lived there for thousands of years before colonial settlements appeared. Dense forests, rugged mountains, winding rivers, and a resilient population helped shape the state's unique identity. During the American Revolution, New Hampshire played a vital role by supporting the struggle for independence, and on June 21, 1788, it became the 9th state to ratify the United States Constitution, making its admission a decisive moment in the creation of the new nation. That historic year is proudly engraved on the reverse of the quarter. The creation of the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter formed part of one of the most successful coin programs ever introduced by the United States Mint. Beginning in 1999, the 50 State Quarters program honored every state in the order that it joined the Union, allowing millions of Americans to learn about the nation's diverse history through everyday pocket change. When New Hampshire's turn arrived in 2000, state officials chose to celebrate a natural landmark rather than a political figure or historic building. Their decision reflected the deep emotional connection that generations of residents felt toward the famous Old Man of the Mountain, a symbol that had come to represent the state's strength, character, and unwavering independence. Every element engraved on the reverse of the New Hampshire Quarter carries remarkable meaning. Dominating the design is the profile of the Old Man of the Mountain, a unique rock formation that naturally resembled the face of an elderly man looking toward the horizon. Rising above the cliffs of Cannon Mountain in the White Mountains, this extraordinary geological feature became one of America's most famous natural landmarks. Beneath the image appears the unforgettable motto, "Live free or die," expressing the determination and independent spirit for which New Hampshire has long been known. Completing the reverse are the inscriptions New Hampshire, 1788, and EPLUBUSUNUM, combining history, identity, and national unity within a single artistic composition. Behind every authentic 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter stands the remarkable craftsmanship of the historic Philadelphia Mint, the oldest minting facility in the United States. Carefully prepared clad planchets traveled through high-speed coining presses where enormous pressure permanently impressed George Washington's portrait on the obverse and the detailed image of the Old Man of the Mountain on the reverse. Skilled mint technicians continuously monitored production to ensure exceptional quality while maintaining the precision expected of modern American coinage. Although millions of quarters were produced for everyday circulation, each coin reflects the artistry, engineering, and historical purpose that transformed the State Quarters program into one of the most beloved chapters in United States mint history. Standing high above Franconia Notch in the majestic White Mountains, the Old Man of the Mountain was far more than an unusual rock formation. For generations, it became the face of New Hampshire itself. Formed naturally by layers of granite shaped over thousands of years through wind, ice, rain, and changing temperatures, the profile appeared to resemble the face of an elderly man gazing proudly into the distance. Travelers from around the world journeyed to witness this remarkable natural wonder, and its image became deeply woven into New Hampshire's identity. By selecting this landmark for the 2000 State Quarter, the people of New Hampshire chose to honor not only a geological masterpiece, but also a symbol of endurance, resilience, and state pride. Few state mottos carry the emotional power of "Live free or die." These famous words were written by General John Stark, a hero of the American Revolution and one of New Hampshire's most respected military leaders. In 1809, Stark concluded a letter with the unforgettable phrase, expressing his lifelong belief that liberty was worth defending at any cost. Over time, those words became the official state motto, reflecting the determination, courage, and independent spirit that have defined New Hampshire throughout its history. When these powerful words were engraved beneath the Old Man of the Mountain on the quarter, they transformed the coin into more than a piece of currency. They made it a lasting reminder of the ideals upon which the nation was founded. Turning the coin over reveals the familiar portrait of George Washington, whose image has appeared on the American quarter since 1932. Washington's presence creates a meaningful connection between the founding of the United States and the individual stories of each state honored in the 50 State Quarters program. Surrounding his portrait are the timeless inscriptions Liberty, In God We Trust, United States of America, and Quarter Dollar, symbols that have become instantly recognizable to generations of Americans. Together, the obverse and reverse create a balanced design that celebrates both national unity and the unique heritage of New Hampshire. The production of the 2000p New Hampshire quarter required extraordinary precision inside the historic Philadelphia Mint. Modern coining presses struck thousands of quarters every hour, transferring intricate design details onto carefully prepared clad planchets with immense pressure. Skilled technicians inspected production throughout the minting process, ensuring that George Washington's portrait, the Old Man of the Mountain, and every inscription appeared with exceptional clarity. Although intended for everyday circulation, each coin reflects centuries of minting experience, combining advanced technology with traditional craftsmanship to create a durable piece of American history. When the New Hampshire quarter entered circulation in the year 2000, it quickly became one of the most admired releases in the state quarters program. Families searched through pocket change to complete collections, schools used the coin to teach American geography and history, and collectors preserved brilliant uncirculated examples for future generations. Its distinctive design, powerful motto, and connection to one of America's most famous natural landmarks made it an instant favorite. In the chapters ahead, we will explore how the Old Man of the Mountain became an international symbol, why the quarter remains important to collectors today, and the lasting legacy this remarkable coin continues to preserve. For more than a century, the Old Man of the Mountain was one of the most recognizable natural landmarks in the United States. Artists painted it, photographers captured it, authors wrote about it, and visitors traveled great distances simply to witness its remarkable profile against the New Hampshire sky. Schools, businesses, government publications, and tourism campaigns proudly displayed its image as a symbol of the state's identity. Although nature continually shaped the granite cliffs through freezing winters and changing seasons, the Old Man remained a source of inspiration for generations. Even after the rock formation collapsed naturally in 2003, its legacy continued to live on through photographs, memorials, and most importantly, the 2000 New Hampshire State Quarter, which permanently preserved its appearance for future generations. Beyond its striking design, the 2000p New Hampshire Quarter also represents the remarkable success of the 50 State Quarters program itself. Introduced by the United States Mint in 1999, the program encouraged millions of Americans to learn about geography, history, and culture while collecting everyday coins. It quickly became one of the most popular coin programs ever created, inspiring families, students, and beginning collectors to search through pocket change in hopes of completing a full set. The New Hampshire Quarter played an important role in that success because it celebrated a natural wonder rather than a political event, demonstrating that America's history is preserved not only in people and buildings, but also in landscapes that inspire national pride. As interest in the coin grew, collectors began examining the 2000p New Hampshire Quarter with increasing attention to detail. Professional grading services evaluated coins based on strike quality, original mint luster, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. Brilliant uncirculated examples became especially desirable because they retained the crisp details and fresh appearance they displayed when first released by the Philadelphia Mint. While circulated coins continued serving their everyday purpose, carefully preserved specimens offered collectors an opportunity to experience the artistry of the original design almost exactly as it appeared in the year 2000. Like every mass-produced coin, the 2000p New Hampshire quarter may display authentic mint-made varieties created naturally during the manufacturing process. Minor die cracks, die chips, double design elements, or slight off-center strikes occasionally occurred as a result of the high-speed minting process. These genuine production characteristics are carefully studied by experienced numismatists because they provide insight into how the coins were manufactured rather than representing damage caused after circulation. Understanding these distinctions helps collectors appreciate the remarkable precision involved in producing millions of quarters while recognizing the few pieces that display unusual mint-created features. As our journey through the history of the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter continues, one message becomes increasingly clear. This coin is far more than a 25-cent denomination. It preserves the story of a state whose identity is built upon courage, natural beauty, and an unwavering belief in freedom. Through the timeless image of the Old Man of the Mountain and the unforgettable words, "Live free or die," the quarter reminds every generation that history can be preserved within even the smallest objects. In the final chapters ahead, we will explore the coin's lasting legacy, its place in modern numismatics, and why it remains one of the most meaningful designs ever released in the history of American coinage. As the years have passed, the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter has become more than a collectible. It has become a lasting ambassador for the state itself. Millions of these quarters traveled across the United States, introducing people to New Hampshire's history, its breathtaking White Mountains, and its proud tradition of independence. Every time the coin changed hands, it quietly shared a story that many people had never heard before. In this way, the quarter fulfilled a purpose far beyond commerce, serving as a miniature history lesson that encouraged curiosity about one of America's most distinctive states. Collectors today appreciate the New Hampshire quarter not simply because it belongs to the 50-state quarters program, but because it captures a landmark that no longer exists in its original form. The natural collapse of the Old Man of the Mountain in 2003 transformed the quarter into an even more meaningful historical record. While the granite profile disappeared from the cliffs of Franconia Notch, its image lives on through this coin, allowing future generations to see and remember one of New England's most beloved natural wonders. In many ways, the quarter became a permanent memorial carved in metal rather than stone. The lasting appeal of the 2000p New Hampshire quarter also reflects the remarkable craftsmanship of the United States Mint. Every carefully struck design line, every inscription, and every detail of George Washington's portrait demonstrates the precision required to produce coins on such a massive scale. Whether preserved in brilliant uncirculated condition or discovered in everyday pocket change, each authentic quarter represents the same commitment to quality that has defined American coinage for generations. It is this combination of artistry and historical storytelling that continues to attract collectors from around the world. Perhaps the greatest lesson taught by this remarkable coin is that history is not preserved only in museums or textbooks. Sometimes it survives in the smallest objects we use every day. A single quarter can carry the memory of a vanished natural landmark, the ideals expressed by a Revolutionary War hero, the story of a state's admission to the Union, and the enduring legacy of America's democratic traditions. That ability to preserve so many layers of history within one circulating coin is what makes the New Hampshire quarter truly extraordinary. As we conclude this documentary, the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter stands as a timeless symbol of freedom, resilience, and remembrance. It honors New Hampshire's admission to the Union in 1788, celebrates the unforgettable profile of the Old Man of the Mountain, preserves the inspiring words, "Live free or die," and showcases the exceptional artistry of the United States Mint. Its greatest value lies not in sensational claims of wealth, but in the remarkable history engraved into its surface. That enduring story ensures that this quarter will continue to educate, inspire, and connect generations of collectors, historians, and lovers of American heritage for many years to come. Even today, decades after its release, the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter continues to inspire a new generation of collectors who appreciate coins not merely for their denomination, but for the remarkable stories they preserve. Young numismatists often discover this quarter while building state quarter collections, only to realize that the image engraved on its reverse represents a natural landmark that no longer exists. That realization transforms an ordinary coin into a powerful connection with the past, proving that coins can preserve memories long after the original landmarks have disappeared. Across museums, educational programs, and coin exhibitions, the New Hampshire Quarter is frequently used to demonstrate how American coinage reflects the nation's cultural and historical diversity. Rather than celebrating only political figures or military victories, this coin honors a natural wonder and a timeless principle of personal liberty. It reminds us that the identity of a state can be expressed through its landscapes, traditions, and values just as effectively as through its monuments. This thoughtful approach is one of the reasons the State Quarters program remains one of the most successful public history projects ever undertaken by the United States Mint. From the skilled engravers who perfected the design to the technicians at the Philadelphia Mint, who struck millions of flawless examples, countless individuals contributed to the creation of this remarkable coin. Their dedication ensured that every authentic 2000p New Hampshire quarter would accurately represent the state's heritage while meeting the highest standards of American minting. Each surviving quarter stands as evidence of that craftsmanship, preserving fine artistic details that continue to impress collectors more than 2 decades after the coin first entered circulation. True importance of the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter extends far beyond the world of coin collecting. It represents the courage of early settlers, the vision of the founding fathers, the natural beauty of the White Mountains, and the enduring belief that freedom is one of humanity's greatest treasures. Through the famous words, "Live free or die," the coin continues to remind people of the sacrifices made to secure liberty and the responsibility each generation has to protect it. Few modern coins carry such a meaningful and enduring message. As this documentary reaches its final chapter, the 2000p New Hampshire State Quarter stands as a timeless masterpiece of American coinage. It commemorates New Hampshire's admission to the Union in 1788, immortalizes the legendary Old Man of the Mountain, celebrates the spirit of independence, and showcases the excellence of the United States Mint. While its face value remains only 25 cents, its historical significance is immeasurable. Long after today's collectors are gone, this quarter will continue telling its remarkable story, proving that the smallest pieces of metal can preserve the greatest chapters of a nation's history. Thanks for joining our channel, and please subscribe to my channel.